Hey yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? It's your boy, Mr. Provoke Thoughts in the building. I want to wish everybody a happy Sunday. Glad that everybody's coming in. Glad that everybody is cool. We about to go ahead and get another work week started. Everything is going to be all to the good. You know what I'm saying? So I welcome everybody here. Make sure that it's your first time. If it's your first time coming in here, make sure that you hit that like, that share, that subscribe button, and make sure you ding that notification bell so that every time I go live, you know about it. So tonight we got a lot to cover. You know, I had a lot of things that I was actually going to do, which I'm probably still going to do. But you know, the modus operandi has actually changed a bit because of the fact that there is a little bit of breaking news that is involved in this, and it is kind of interesting, kind of sad. You know, one of those things is like, oh my goodness, now what are we going to do? How are we going to react to this one? What's going to happen? So, for those of you all who don't watch the news, or for those who have watched the news, you know that there has been a situation recently with Joe Biden and the Hur report coming out, and you know, people finding out that he's not as cognitively dissident as most people would want for him to be. He actually is out of there. The man ain't got them all. His elevator don't go all the way up to the top. And unfortunately, we had to deal with this for 4 years while we had everybody who was paying attention crying out, saying, "Hey, Joe, something's wrong with Joe. Can y'all take a look at Joe? Can y'all go check on y'all people?" You know, and unfortunately, you know, they didn't check on their people. They sat up there and they created their narratives. They did their thing. They just campaigned on Trump bad because they had nothing, because they had a man in there that didn't, they shouldn't have had in there. This guy was clearly, he lost his fastball, his curveball was gone, everything. And we sat here and we dealt with bad decisions after bad decision while the media, the government, some of our friends that's just absolutely brainwashed told us that everything was absolutely cool. It's all good. Don't worry about it. You know, he's doing a great job. He better than Trump. These are the things that people were saying to us. These are the things that, you know, people were trying to get across to us as American people who actually care about what happens to the country, what happens to the next person, and things like that. You know, so in the aspect of the fact that, you know, his presidency to me has always been a farce. You know, I do feel like, and I can say it straight up because I am the president, they cheated Donald Trump out of the presidency in 2020. I watched the whole thing. I know exactly what happened. Okay. So that happened. He did get cheated out of the presidency of the United States in 2020. But I think that it's cool because now we get to see the absolute corruption of the Democratic Party and the erosion of the truth in the media, and all of these things are going to have to change at some point in order for us to have the union that we all desire to have in America. It just has to. So when we're going to get into the breaking news. As you can see, Joe Biden has been diagnosed, and it just came out today that he's been diagnosed with an aggressive prostate cancer. Um, we're going to get into it.
We're just hearing some breaking news now regarding former US President Joe Biden, and that is that he has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. There is a statement from his personal office which reads, "Last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9. That's a grade group 5 with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physician. So that's the statement from Joe Biden's personal office regarding that diagnosis of prostate cancer.
Wow. So basically, Joe Biden is in some medical trouble at this particular point. Prostate cancer ain't no joke. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. I hate it for him, man. I mean, it sucks, but hopefully, possibly he can get the treatment that he needs, and maybe that'll help some other people get the treatments that they need. So, I'm not. You can't say condolences. You say get well soon, Joe Biden. Nobody wants to hear that somebody is going through anything. We are better than that on our side of the fence. When you are a conservative, you actually do take a little bit of time to care about that next person. So get better soon, Joe. Really, get better soon, Joe. So you can go ahead and be held accountable, hopefully, for some of the stuff that you done pulled, buddy. That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, if anybody else ain't hoping for it, then I don't know what it is that you are hoping for. So, most recently, uh, after the interview with The View, where his wife had to jump in basically and save him when he was having, a senior moment brain fart situation. Nothing against seniors, but it happens. Even when you get to a certain age, you have brain farts even when you're young. But it's more prevalent in a person who is a senior because of the fact that, it's just one of those things that you have to deal with. And it's sad that the man actually has to deal with this in this time of need, and basically what it is to me is a sloppy can of Joe, because these people decided that they was going to put out a man that was clearly in cognitive decline, clearly having issues, clearly not able to complete sentences, find his way off stage, make his way upstairs, and get a point across as the president of the United States. The issue that I have with this is that not only do we see this, but there are other world leaders in the world that are actually meeting with this guy or were meeting with this guy. And if a baby could pick up on it, if somebody all the way in Indiana like me can pick up on it, then trust and believe me, there are people overseas that can pick up on it. Anybody can pick up on, you not having them all there, basically. Excuse me. So this is what happened. Unfortunately, the Democratic Party saw fit to put this particular man in a situation where he was in over his head because they felt as if by doing so they could control the narrative, they could control everything that happened to us, and just control us basically. They controlled him. They wanted to control us. Fortunately, our president is Donald J. Trump. He's trying to make things happen in a different way. Let's go ahead and get into this Her report, because that is an absolute doozy. It is crazy.
Well, I used to.
So during this time when you were living in Chambers Road and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer moonshot or your book, where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know. You're supposed to be the president of the United States, but you don't know something about important documents that you've had. That's not a good look, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Not a good look, Mr. Joe.
This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying.
Wait, either has been deployed or he's dying. That's an interesting one right there as well. Very, very interesting. Let's see what happens.
And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. That's not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did.
Wait a minute. What did he say about? Did he say somebody else was the president? Hold up.
Encouraging me to run in this period at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. That's not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better
he must be
shot
talking about Obama.
of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I might run for office again. So if I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening though, when did Bo die? May 30th, 2018. Was it 2015 he died?
2015.
I think it's 2015.
I'm not sure the months are, but I think that was.
Yeah.
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that and Trump gets elected in November of 2017? 2016. All right. So
How come we can't figure that out? How come we cannot figure that out? That's absolutely insane. 2017, 2016, it wasn't even that far away. But we know why.
2017.
That's when you left office, in January of 2017.
Okay. But that's when Trump gets sworn in.
Right,
January.
right, correct.
Okay, yeah. And in 2017, Bo had passed, and this is personal. The genesis of the book and the title, Promise Me Dad, was I know you're all close with your sons and daughters, but Bo was like my right arm, and that was my left. And these guys were a year and a day apart, and they could finish each other's sentences. And Bo, I used to go home on the train, and
What in the heck is this dude talking about? This rant is incoherent.
the period that I was still in the Senate. Anyway, I can't remember. There was not pressure. Bo knew how much I adored him. And
What this got to do with some documents? I'm confused. I don't know what this has to do with any type of documents. Oh my goodness! I know that her was pulling his hair out. Her was literally pulling his hair out. That is crazy. Wow, wow. This was what was running the country, y'all. Seriously.
maybe it sounds so. Everybody knew how close we were. There was not anybody in the world who wondered whether or not. Anyway. And so.
Sir, I'm wondering if it's a good time to take a break. Briefly there.
No.
Hell yeah, it's time to take a break. I need a break. Oh my goodness. What just happened there, man? What in the world? Somebody please tell me what I just listened to, because I don't know what he said. And I don't think that he know what he said either. Sound familiar? I don't know what he said. And I don't think that he knows what he said either, y'all. Either. And this is the person that they put out here for us, told us, hey, this is your guy. This is the guy that's going to change things and bring order and adulthood back into the White House and blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. Wow. Absolutely wow. Absolutely insane. This is the biggest scandal that has ever hit America. I believe, in my personal view, this is the biggest scandal that has ever smacked us in America. This is ridiculous. It is just, hey, we don't care. We're literally just going to do whatever we want. We are going to literally peddle this man out here to you like it's nothing. Like it's absolutely nothing, and you're going to have to take it because this is what it is. This is exactly what it is. Literally. They stated that at a point they were considering, if he was running and he actually won, that they were going to put this man in a wheelchair. In a freaking wheelchair, man. What in the world is that? If you don't believe me, I don't know what to tell you. Because it is the truth. I am telling you, the left has turned on this man in a way that I have never seen before. It's crazy how they flipped on, and they telling it all. They don't care no more. No propping up Joe. No propping up Joe no more. No, Joe is done. Joe is toasty toast. They are not propping him up. They don't care. They just don't care. They eat their own over there on the Democratic side.
A new book claims some of President Biden's top aides considered putting him in a wheelchair if he won a second term. The book, Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again by CNN's Jake Tapper and Axios' Alex Thompson, draws on more than 200 interviews, most of them conducted after the November election, primarily with Democratic insiders. It details how Biden's physical decline became visible in the latter part of his term. Aides often walked with him across the White House lawn, both to shield him from cameras and to prevent a fall.
Man, if they don't quit playing with me. Weren't we saying this? I mean, were we not screaming to the rooftops? Every conservative voice in the world was hollering like hell. Hey man, what's wrong with this dude? Why y'all got him going through this? Why you have us going through this? Why? Just damn it, why? Like, are you serious? You were literally considering it at the same time that you were considering all of this. That you were literally considering, oh my goodness, are we going to have to put Joe Biden in a freaking wheelchair? You're telling us, the American people, oh, he's coaching, I got to keep up with him. And now, if you got trouble keeping up with that man, then you need to get yourself checked out. That's ridiculous. This is literally what they told us. This man is fine. Oh my goodness, I can't. Oh, we go to Walmart and I promise can't keep up. Wild and ridiculous. Wild and ridiculous. And it shouldn't just upset me. It should upset those people who were sitting over there in the Democratic Party and they knew, because they was like, well, hey, after the debate, they had to try to do something because they knew for a fact that he could not beat Donald Trump. After the debate and after everybody saw that you couldn't hide it from the people who just watched your network, because that's exactly what happened. It was the people that just watched your network that got the epiphany. We knew. We already had it. We already understood it. The debate was literally confirmation. Literally. That's all it was. It just confirmed everything that we had already just said that happened. Everything. And it's crazy that nobody on the left had the balls to say anything about anything, except Mr. Late in the Game, Jake Tapper. Okay? So the question that I got for those who are watching right now is Jake Tapper's career in the crapper, man? I mean, because it's crazy to me how this dude came out and he was the biggest and staunchest and most ridiculous Trump defector. He was the biggest conspiracy theorist confirmer. He was the biggest person in Joe Biden's corner besides the Morning Joe, who literally lied to everybody. Lied to everybody. Oh, he's cogent. Oh, cogent. No. That's not it, Mr. Jake the fake snake tapper, Jake the snake. Yes, Jake the snake tapper. That's what he is. The dude is absolutely terrible. He's, to me, horrible news anchor. Horrible. And I just don't understand. I mean, you get on television right now. You are Mr. Honest Abraham, and you're telling everybody that, oh, this, that, and I saw this, and I knew that, and they did this, and they hid that, and they pulled the wool over all of our eyes, bruh. I ain't gonna let you get away with that tonight. I can't let you get away with that tonight. Donald Trump was right about you, buddy. Your name is Fake Tapper. You're trash. You're garbage. And Jake Tapper, your career is in the crapper, bro. You know that you got to do something because you know where CNN is going. You know where MSNBC is going. You know where ABC and CBS and all of them are going. Buddy, you know. You just know. I know you know. I know you know. And, we know you know. Laura Trump know you know. Because you had the nerve and the audacity to really try to do this lady bad when all she did was tell the honest to goodness truth about what's really going on and what's really happening in the buttermilk when it comes to Joe Biden and his cognitive dissidence.
Well, things about things that you've done on the campaign trail. Joe Biden, as we all know, has worked to overcome a stutter. And one of the speakers at the Democratic...
A stutter that we just found out about a couple of years ago. This just happened. They were just lying. I ain't even really ever heard Joe Biden say anything about a stutter.
Convention was a young boy who the vice president inspired, named Braden Harrington. Take a listen.
It was really amazing to hear that someone like me became vice.
Why they put this kid up here with this obvious stutter? That ain't what Joe Biden going through. That's not what he sounds like. He sounds like somebody who get lost in thought, not because he has a stammering problem. That's crazy to me. Why would you bring this kid? This kid, Joe Biden, man, Boy, wow, the Democratic Party. Because I can't blame Joe Biden no more at this point for him even being ran. I can't. He probably was like, oh, okay, do whatever you want. I'm dying to be president. Literally. He wanted to be president. He wanted to be it so bad that he was willing to go in there and he knew he had lost his fastball.
President.
Braden Harrington, a very brave young boy. You made this comment earlier in the campaign about Joe Biden. Let's take a listen to that.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have
to watch somebody on stage search for
it's so amazing.
questions
It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out.
Look at this punk, man. Look at this fool sitting up here shilling in line and lying with no regard, just lying his ass off about a stutter. And here you come with a book. I'm amazed. I'm in awe. Oh, what in the world? Oh my goodness. Hey, Noobs, if you want to come in and check your phone, you should have a text. But I promise you, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is crazy. And they go on.
An answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were
stuttering,
mocking his stutter.
Idea, Joe
Yeah,
Biden.
I think you were mocking his stutter.
She was not mocking that man's stutter. Look at, you see these people are so arrogant that they can sit up and narcissists can lie to you with a straight face. Lie to you with a straight face, man. Try to shame you for pointing out the absolute obvious, man. Look at this. Oh, stutter. Wow. Come on, dude.
And I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think.
But you wrote a book. You wrote a book, bruh. She's in no standing to diagnose a cognitive decline. This is what you're telling me. You turn around and you write a book, bro. What is wrong with you, man? The lies.
That somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses, diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you, your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you.
Ad hominem insults, man. When they have nothing else, they got the insult. They're going to talk their shit. I'm sure your father. Ain't nothing wrong with Trump, man. See, that's the problem. You wish that something was wrong with Donald Trump. But it's not. Do you think that Joe Biden would have been able to dodge a bullet on a stage outside anywhere? He couldn't have. He couldn't even handle a debate. In all seriousness, you arguing with this woman. And then you turn your lying ass around and you write a book. Bro, you suck and you probably got to do it at home. I swear you do. Oh my goodness. Wow.
You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive decline.
See that Joe Biden
I
is
have one last
struggling
question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying.
Look at how, matter of fact, this is an actual concern. You're not even in tune with what America and its people actually want. You're not even in tune with what the people want. Look at you, what the people see. It wasn't just them, it was everybody. Even people, y'all lost people in the Democratic Party because of this. Think of that. Wow, Jake.
Genuinely
you,
feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure it was from a place of concern. We all believe that. Laura Trump, thank you so much. Coronavirus cases are back.
What always shocks me is just how dumb the Trump campaign thinks that people are. Here we have.
See, you see, and then you got this idiot coming behind him. We're not even going to give him any airplay or attention. That he's dumb because he believes that shit. Noobs, what's up, baby?
I got my coffee finally.
Yeah, this fucker believed that shit. Shut the boy. Stop it.
Yeah, you know what? And I ain't even gonna play, man, because you know, I have said and I still maintain, Joe Biden, dude, you get what you deserve.
You say no love for Joe.
Man, I have heard, you know, more, you know, crying and sorrowful tones, you know, about poor Joe Biden, you know, today than I have heard in his entire life. And I am just not going down that road, dude. Joe, you get what you deserve, brother.
You see what I got, that big old can of sloppy Joe, huh?
I'm sorry. You know, just because, you know, the world has finally decided to recognize that this dude is sick, you know, is not, you know, any reason, you know, just to all of a sudden feel sorry for Joe. Sorry, don't. That dude burned up my compassion for him years ago.
Sorry. You say sorry, not sorry, huh?
I mean, hey, you know, the dude got what he want, and you and I had a little bit of this discussion today, you know, because you
Right.
turned on the Wayback Machine to a conversation that we had where we said, dude, so, you know, Joe sells his soul to the devil, all right,
Yes,
so that
sir.
he can become president. And then at the time we said, you know, wouldn't it be funny though if, you know, the penance that he had to pay for that is that he will never remember being the president. And look what has happened.
Man, that's crazy. He can't remember nothing. I'm listening.
Dude.
I'm like, wait a minute, what is this dude even talking about?
You know, and I mean, as soon as you brought that up, I remember that conversation like yesterday. So, you know, you can stick that one up in your profit column.
Oh my God, that was a crazy one because we like, man, look, this dude is out of it. He's done.
Yeah, and it was because of that Puppetgate video. Remember?
Yeah.
That's why we had that conversation, because of
Yeah.
that Puppetgate video.
He sold his soul to the devil.
Yep.
And now it's time to collect.
Yep. And so, and the thing that he's going to collect on is like, boom, he's going to be under the ground, and he won't even remember being a president.
He said, I'm coming to get mine, buddy.
Yep.
What you mean? So it's been a big old can of sloppy Joe, man, and the meat is all out of the bun. It's fucked up. It's everywhere. Sloppy as hell. This is you know, he took blame.
Yep.
And I blame him for a lot of shit because Joe Biden ruined my life. I'll say it over and over again. And people who hate Trump so much just because they've been indoctrinated in that system, I don't even care about you anymore.
Yeah, you know, and
you mean nothing. The winner. Let's just be clear, News. I'm gonna let you roll. The winner never ever has to apologize for winning. What am I apologizing for? We won. I'm getting what I want. Everything he said that he was going to do in every rally that I watched, that he got all of my support from. I'm sorry, I voted for all of this, tariffs and all, because I understand it. Because when I was in school, I actually listened to that part of what tariffs are, and so I got it. Obviously, he listened too. I mean, you guys are just everybody was so scared, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. But
Here
anyway,
is how it is easy to get, okay? And and I'm no economist by any means. All right? But before he does it, he comes out and he explains what he's going to do. And then a lot of times, most times, more than half of the time when he's explaining these things, he is explaining the effect that is going to have. All
right? He
right.
don't. Yeah.
And because even before all this started, he's like, dude, the buying power of the United States is the largest buying economy in the world. These people have no cards to play with, but they're charging us all of this money to accept our goods and, just using the American market free, absolutely free,
Yep.
with no penalties, whatsoever. And so how can people, especially people who claim to be talking heads in the fields of economy and that sort of thing, how can they get up there and think that that is good for American businesses? Of course, if you're a business guy, you're going to move that company where you can get cheap labor and no penalty for the import whatsoever. And this has been going on what? Shit, since we were born,
I promise
you
to
know?
God it has.
And it's just been getting worse and worse and worse because these clowns, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Bill Clinton, Obama, these clowns, they talk all of this shit, but they don't understand anything about how the world economy works. And this is the first president in our lifetime that does.
I mean, it's akin to you just running game. That's pretty much what they have done. They've run a big, decades long game on
Well,
the
yeah, so
American
long
people.
as it benefits them, then they're
Right.
happy to make these trade deals that cost workers, American workers, money. Doesn't
And
cost them
jobs.
anything. Yeah, they're getting fat on it because they're making these deals.
Absolutely, man. And like I said, it amazes me that people aren't on to it. Like, why ain't
I
you up on this
know.
shit?
I know.
Why
It,
didn't you listen to that shit in school?
mm, mm,
I mean, because they talked about it. We talked it in depth. Government economics.
yep. Hmm.
What in the
It
absolute
just,
hell?
I know, man. It just blows my mind. It really does. And I guess, we shouldn't be too aggravated by all of this though. Okay? Because if nothing else, all of those conversations are now vindicated.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And so, and I understand, the gears, of the media and the gears of the politicians and the gears, it takes everybody some time, to come around. But dudes, there's just some dudes, and Joe Biden is one of them, and Chuck Schumer is another one, and Jerry Nadler and those guys, because they just lie and they do all this crazy shit and they think it's never going to come back and bite them in the ass. I just don't understand that. Well, of course, they tried to kill Trump, so they tried to take him out of that equation, and we'd
right.
be living in a completely different world had that happened.
Dude, that was the whole point. Me and you talked about it. So it's not a foreign
Hmm.
idea. Joe Biden got crumbled in that debate,
Mm.
absolutely crumbled, and they panicked. And one of those deep state fools was like, I know a guy, and set him up to get an assassination attempt.
Yeah,
That's
and
exactly
now,
what happened.
and now we're finding that there are, even other, plans and attempts that were being made. Some of them get some airtime, others don't get so much airtime.
Yeah.
So there is more plots out there than what is general knowledge. I will say that, unless you're
You
somebody who
damn right about
digs
that.
into that sort of thing.
I mean, you're damn right about that. I'm sure that every day somebody is seethed and they
Yeah.
try to get their hands, get somewhere near Donald Trump to do some
Oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, I already know that. I mean, that just, if you don't think that, then something the hell is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because he has the most dangerous job right now.
Yeah. I honestly think he's, short of an airstrike, he's probably better off at spending time at Mar-a-Lago than he is at the White House. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, because I don't
Because
trust
then
that.
that's his security guys mixed with you know his government detail, and I imagine that is probably pretty tight.
Yeah, I'm sure that it better be, damn it. It better be. It absolutely better be. Well, he chimed in about Joe Biden's cognitive decline real quickly, and it makes perfect sense because I'd say about 98% of the stuff he says makes perfect sense. That's a pretty good average.
That are literally perfect, but Joe was not one of them, and they did a lot of hiding.
Let's back that up.
Look, everybody understands the condition of him. I know people that are 89, 90, 92, 93 years old that are literally perfect, but Joe was not one of them, and they did a lot of hiding. They were really playing games, and you can't do that. Our country's at stake.
And that's exactly the truth. They was out here playing games. We know now, and some of the Democrats that didn't believe it, they believe it now. They've been lied to. Ain't no worse feeling than that. No worse feeling than that to feel like, oh my God, this whole time, because there are people that believe that Joe Biden was in full understanding.
And we've got plenty of folks, rest assured, that even after today will go to their graves still thinking that.
Yes.
You know what I
Because
mean?
a brainwash is a brainwash, and
Oh my God.
it
Well,
seemed like
and then it becomes a position where you have to defend your previous, attitude. Let's say, I used air quotes, attitude.
yeah, I see him.
You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah.
and a lot of people have a hard time, just admitting that. Oh my goodness, what was I thinking?
Right. Nobody wants to be the I made a screwed up decision. Yeah, we almost
Right.
lost our country.
Yeah, and that's why I feel so bad for some of these, particularly these younger lefty lunatics, because they run their mouths about things that they haven't even bothered to look into. And we've got some on the right too. No doubt. As a matter of fact, I come across one today. He's trying to
Uh-huh.
compare uh 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 Comey's threat to the president to another individual on the right who was killed by law enforcement. Okay. Um, but the difference is that particular fellow had brandished firearms at law enforcement on an occasion previous to this and did it again when the Secret Service came to talk to him about his posts.
Oh
And
wow.
so, they're trying to compare the two, saying that, oh, well, Comey should go to jail because of this, because this other guy did. Yeah, but Comey didn't point any guns at anybody. You know what I'm saying? He just made a stupid decision. Not that I'm trying to defend Comey. I just don't think that this is the nail in the coffin that is going to, finally finish Comey. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, he has nothing coming anymore.
Yeah, I mean, because you know what he's going to do. Even if they bring him up there to testify and everything else, he's going to deny knowing the actual meaning of 86. Okay.
Right.
He's gonna say, oh well, to me that meant get rid of or impeach or whatever. So he'll follow that line to his grave. Uh, and so it's just not gonna. Everybody's making a big deal out of it. I just don't think it's gonna be anything.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about that.
Yeah, yeah. But they won't
But
leave it alone. It's crazy. They're falling into the same kind of lockstep, and that's really the point. They're falling into the same kind of lockstep that the mainstream media did, that gave all of these,
absolutely,
you know what I'm saying? So be careful of that is all I'm saying.
absolutely. So, little topic that I pull up because I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to do shit different. Pull up little things that we can talk about. So I feel like that the only way that the Democratic Party can recover anything, and I'm not saying they'll come all the way back because I don't think so, but the only way to recover is to tell unvarnished truth. We need to know, what did you know and how long you knew it.
I don't think so. That's not going to help them
We
recover.
need to. I mean, it'll help them recover with their people a little bit,
I
just a
think
little bit.
the only thing that is going to help them recover at this point is to find somebody to to be the new lead of the Democratic Party. And it is going to have to be somebody with integrity like you suggest, but I don't mean about just past things. I mean it needs to be somebody who comes up, who is a Democrat and actually looks at what Trump is doing and say, "Hey, these are the things that I like and these are the things that I don't like. Here's why, and here's how I think we can do it better." Until they find that person, because stumbling, staggering, blah, 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 cottonmouth Kamala is not that person.
Okay, all right. So the next one: can the Dems restore faith in their party at all? Do you think?
Man, probably not. I don't know. And the reason that I say that is because in my mind, there's nothing that they could do to reverse what they have going on now, because it has become common practice to double down on stupid.
Right. That's
You know what I'm,
that is very true.
and so,
They'll argue to no end
hmm
with Scott over on CNN. They'll
yep,
argue with no end. I'm talking about they'll argue with my man. What was his name from Shark
yep.
Tank?
Well, and I mean, your guy that you started this session with, Jake Tapper. How many times was he confronted?
Right,
You know,
and
and
absolutely lied.
just lied. And so how do you fix that? I mean, even Bill Maher, who I wouldn't trust any further than I could throw, even he is completely flabbergasted at all of the crazy, just again, doubling down on stupidity. It blows him away like it blows us away. He's like, dudes, you guys, you just never learn anything.
And the thing about it is with him, from what I see, I don't spy a liberal Looney Tune.
Yeah,
He's liberal. He believe in some shit,
yeah.
but he's not. I would just say that at some points, common sense does kick in for some people.
Oh my God. I need to start making a note of these examples, okay? And not to go off the beaten path too much, but just as an example to what we're talking about. We kind of lost track of Tiffany Haynyard.
Yeah,
All right. Well, Tiffany Haynyard has been voted out of office by a landslide, is still under federal investigation, not even a word from her state yet. Okay. Uh, and, what did they do to replace her? You think that folks would get the idea that, hey, man, Jesus, we've been voting for this party for all this time, and look what we have gotten. You think that at some point they would finally turn that over. And I thought, at least in my mind, that the Tiffany Haynyard situation, that is like rock bottom, dude. That's like
yeah.
that's like you can't get it. But they still, what did they do? They voted another Democrat to fill both of those positions that they
They can't.
fought so hard to get Tiffany out of.
They can't help themselves, man. I
I
mean,
I know it.
it's the craziest thing ever. I mean, they're so far on this woke hill.
Mm,
They're so far up it that
yep.
they don't even understand.
Now I hope that these Democrats that they voted in are not the same. You know, I hope that they're on the up and up at least. You know what I'm saying? But I still think that Democrats in this day and age, particularly in counties like the one that Tiffany Hayniard is in, you still get crushed by the Democratic machine in those areas.
Yeah, you do. You do. I mean, because it's vote blue no matter who.
Yep. Oh, and I mean, there are people that have fights about it, in public because somebody's on the wrong side of the aisle. It's
I
stupid.
ain't voting for no damn Republican. What you talking about?
Yep. Next thing you know, hands are flying.
Okay. So my question, another one I got, and I've answered it. Why did the media hide Joe Biden's issues? Well,
Money.
first of all, absolutely. They were getting paid handsomely through USAID, through Big Pharma, and all these places to perpetuate narratives. Joe Biden had no intention of lowering the cost of prescription medicine. You know
He
why?
had no intention of running the country.
These were talking points. He wasn't going to do it. You know why? Because he could have just did it with a stroke of his pen. Period. We just watched it happen. These people are in the pockets of Big Pharma, George Soros.
Yeah, I don't know why they just don't follow the money. I don't know why, because you don't hear anything about it. Every once in a while, some talking head will say something about the $10 million that that Hunter got from Barista. With 10% going to the big guy. But nobody ever bothered to go and follow the actual money.
Right.
When they crawled up Donald Trump's financial rear end, but they won't go and follow Joe's money or Hillary's. I know. I just whatever.
It's a it's
That
a
that's why I have to throw my hands up. It's like what?
it's a shite show, sir. Straight up shite show. Let's see what else we got.
Oh, and
So,
Letitia. Oh my goodness. Now they're crawling up her financial hiney and they keep finding more stuff.
oh yeah, of course they do. Now, they've used, if you notice, with a lot of these things that's been happening, they use these distractions and shit and delusion. They've been doing this for a long, long time, man, especially with Biden, man. They are I don't know whether it's distraction or delusion or a combination of both, or what's the ratio? What you think about that, man?
Say it again in a different way because I'm not sure I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay, so if we looked at Jake Tapper,
Uh-huh.
this guy literally went on and on with Laura Trump about a freaking stutter.
Yeah. Because that's all he had.
And I'm trying to figure out, is it distraction or is
Yes.
it delusion?
Both.
Break it
Okay,
down.
because he was never genuine in his attack. It was never about that kid. Okay. And recently there was a confrontation on the congressional floor, and I'm trying to remember exactly. Oh, it was Kash Patel and some woman that has white hair. It looks like a mop sitting on top of her
Oh
head.
yeah,
I
I know
don't
who you're
know.
talking about. I saw that.
Okay. Yeah, you saw that, right? And so
Yes, sir.
she brings up, some BS cost cuts that are not actually, occurring the way that she's implying that they're occurring. And she brings up this person. Oh, and it was JFK. It was not Kash Patel. It was JFK. And so JFK asked for the woman's information. He says, "Well, hey, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but if you send me her information, I will." Well, she wants to move on now because it was never about the woman that she brought up. She was trying to make, score a talking point on
Right.
ESPN, like anybody except for us screwballs are watching her anyway. And this is the same kind of thing with Jake Tapper. So he knew the whole time that he was running his mouth to the contrary, he knew exactly what was going on. And so, and this is the part, this is the only slack that I give them. is that maybe some of them actually believe in some little way that they think they are doing their country a service.
Because of what they've been also brainwashed to believe.
Exactly, because of the bubble that they live in and the people that they surround themselves with, and and all of those opinions, because God forbid Jake Tapper ever watch like the Benny show. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, you know, that oh, I don't know. Let's for lack of a better term, I'll call it a false sense of patriotism.
Right on. Oh, I believe so too, man. It's crazy because I don't get it. It's just, I mean, yeah, I try to get distractions. I mean, are you really? Well, deep fake bullshit. That was a bunch of BS.
Yeah, I think maybe a lot of people on the left are really sold on the idea of, the greater good, but they have no idea whatsoever of what the greater good looks like. You know what I mean?
Right.
They think that, that like kind of like the socialist regime and that sort of deal, that is the path to the greater good, and it's just not. And it's been proven over and over again that is not the way to go if you want a healthy society.
Not at all, man.
And so now the problem is that people don't want to compete.
No, they don't. They want DEI.
Right. They want to be hired on something that has nothing to do with their ability to perform.
Or they want to play in a sport with people that they're definitely superior to.
It goes right back to the same thing, you know. So instead of training harder to compete amongst your peers, then you're going to create this facade in its total garbage.
Yeah, so like one of the craziest movies I saw when I think about it now, Joanna Man.
Never heard of it.
You're gonna have to look at it.
All right.
Joanna Man was about a guy who got kicked out of the NBA and ended up dressing like a female and joining the WNBA.
Oh, is it a comedy?
It's a comedy.
How old is it?
It's got to be about 15 years old at this point.
Yeah, so like 80s, 90s,
No,
or
it's a 2000 movie.
oh, okay, all right. So, well, even then, though, that kind of an idea was still, kind of on the kind of funny side. You know what I mean?
But how what's funny can turn into some shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's always, they say that the key to a good joke is that there is always some truth to it.
Right, and here we are.
Yep.
It was here we are with men claiming
And
women's
now it
sport.
ain't funny anymore.
Nah, ain't no joke when a girl get hit in the face with a puck and knock her teeth out, knock her unconscious, give her concussion.
Dude, can you imagine? I mean, I don't know if it's happened like in baseball yet or anything, but can you imagine, this 100-pound girl getting hit by a 100-mile-an-hour fastball?
You got what's the guy in Tim Wall's land in Minnesota that's playing softball with women and he's throwing some.
Yeah, I saw some fireballs in there, dude. And a lot of times I remember seeing a clip, and I mean, this chick was still standing there. She didn't even know the ball had gone by.
Right. It's like, oh, shit, oh damn.
Yeah. I mean, dude.
So and the thing about it is there is absolute delusion going on
Yes.
the left hand side, man, and it's crazy to me, man.
And then, I mean, things like this have been proven clinically over and over again. Both strength and dexterity differences between males and females.
Right.
Now, it is, and it's not to say that there aren't exceptions on every side, because you get clumsy dudes, and then you get some chicks that are, ninjas just by nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
But on an average, you know, dudes do better at things that require considerable amounts of strength and dexterity.
Absolutely correct, man. Absolutely. So it's been about an hour, noobs, man. been doing my thing. Got my point across. We answered a lot of good questions here tonight, man.
Yeah, man.
We will be back on Wednesday, of course.
Wednesday.
Same bat time, same Provoke Bet channel. Ain't no telling what we're going to talk about now. Wednesday is the solid date. There's no telling what can happen throughout the week, depending on what happens throughout the news. We got a lot going on. We trying to pass a big, beautiful bill. We trying to figure out why Smokey Robinson is now under criminal investigation. We got to figure out why Chris Brown is somewhere locked in the gulag overseas. We got a lot. It's a lot going on. We got Diddy's trial. We got, Cassie. Oh my God.
Oh, that's one that I have been ignoring.
Oh my God. It just brings me back to that adage of, where victimhood ends and consent begins.
Yeah, and I haven't been ignoring it just because, I don't think it'd be interesting to know what's going on. But you know how, some podcasts where you're sitting there and you're listening and there's a lot of blah 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 blah. Give me the cliff notes. You know what I mean?
You give me the cheat sheet, which is something that I tried to do today. I tried to kind of sum it up, keep it quick, keep it light, and I think we're all right tonight. Now, of course, if it's your first time coming in, or it's your first time watching it on replay or wherever you catch me, on X, on Twitch, on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, I have reopened my merch store, so you can go ahead and get you a shirt if you want to. You can click the QR code on the screen, or you can go to www.bonfire.com/store/the Provoke and you can get you a t-shirt. I still got some of the throwbacks, and I got some fresh ones for you now. So, noobs, look like we about to get up out of here. If you stick around in the back for me, I would appreciate it. And it's been one good night. I've enjoyed myself. We got some stuff across really quickly and really proficiently. So let's go ahead and get up out of here, sir.
Night, everybody.
Peace.